It's not that I'm leaving you out.
In no point in time was I arranged to make it. And why? Because I want to make a choice. I have to include me in conversations and decision making. My opinion matters.
Stop it.
No.
I don't want to be yelled at the entire
You gotta
time.
think about it.
Think about what? Because I was the one who made the initial decision. But you agreed to it.
No, I didn't agree to
Yes,
it.
you did. Now you're complaining that's not what's happening. I understand what you were saying. I understand what you mean.
You don't have to.
I remember her as a person who really tried to engage as fully with her life as she was able to.
When I think of her, I think of the time where I walked out of the bathroom and she was there and she was like, "You should go outside now." And I was like, "Okay, why should I go outside?" And she was like, "Just go outside." And I saw a swing set and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool."
And I also remember Grandpa as like confusingly strong for a long time, raking leaves in their driveway. And he must have been in his mid-80s, and he kind of came outside and was like, you know, "You're not doing it very well," and like, you know, took the rake from me.
With Grandpa, just how much he loved animals, especially cats.
Maddie was the first grandchild, and Grandma was very devoted to her. And then she got really scared when Rachel was pregnant and before Nina was born, and she was very worried that she wouldn't be able to love the grandchild as much as Maddie. She loved Maddie. That went away pretty quickly.
Both Ani and Nalu, I remember being aware like they wanted to have babies. They wanted to get pregnant. And so I remember feeling like really affected by that. Like I knew how much they both wanted to, and I like really wanted that for them. So like if it was like my birthday and I would like make a wish to blow out the candles, I'd like wish that they would get pregnant, you know? And so I was really excited when they did. It totally like, you know, obviously the family changed a lot because suddenly there were babies when before there, you know, Nina and I were older. And you know, I remember Grandma seeming a lot more anxious.
But we lived in a family where the message was it's okay to yell at somebody as long as you love them. And
my mother was much more unambivalently committed to the project of parenting, whereas my father was very conflicted about it, and I think that he saw his family responsibilities as distracting from, you know, his career or other things he might have focused on. And
I don't have a really clear memory, but yeah, there were fights. And Grandpa would often, during those fights, leave the house and go for walks, and then Grandma would go look for him in the car. He left with a cage of, I believe it was guinea pigs, and walked down the street carrying the cage. He was very angry. I'm not really sure. It was a kind of funny image. I didn't know what he was going to do with the guinea pigs. I think I was afraid of what he was going to do with the guinea pigs. Those are things I remember.
there's a lot of yelling, and I didn't know that wasn't normal. I just thought, oh, well, family, like what makes family, happy families, people feel loved, and I always felt loved. And the idea that, like, people didn't fight all the time or yell all the time, like, I didn't know that didn't have to be that way.
I mean, I remember I would, like as a kid, sometimes I would like be, like my mom would be like fighting on the phone with either her mom or one of her sisters, like on our family landline. And sometimes I wouldn't know who she was talking to, but she would just be like yelling. And I'd be like, oh, wonder who she's fighting with, like wonder what happened.
I think it was more of like a stark before and after for Grandpa. than it ever was for Grandma, because Grandpa's memory went in a lot of ways with his stroke. And so, like, he often wouldn't know who different people in the family were. He often didn't know who I was. But he seemed to know that I was related to him, which always felt nice, even if he couldn't pinpoint how. Whenever I would see her, she would hold my hand and she still had like a really strong grip on my hand and like a really strong gaze.
I was at work and I was seeing patients in clinic, and she called me. It was the middle of the afternoon. And then while I was driving home, a little bit after I left the hospital, I called, and Rose said she had gone to bed early, so she wasn't going to wake her. It was around 7, I think. I suspect she was lonely. I don't know.
I had my phone on the dresser outside the bathroom door, and I heard it ringing. And so I walked out, and it was Natalie, and I picked it up, and that's when she told me that Rose had found Grandma, and she wasn't breathing, and that the paramedics were there, and she was going to go over. And so, yeah, I don't feel good about it. How about you?
It was the night before she died. The following week, I called her. I made plans to go over to see her, either that next day or the following day. I don't remember which it was supposed to be. And that was probably 8 p.m. on that Tuesday night, and I got a call 12 hours later from my mom that she had died.
Do I miss them? I thought I would. I think about them. Sometimes I miss them. Sometimes.
In recent years, I know that there have been various periods where Ani and Nalu aren't really talking to each other. Maybe like absolutely not at all. Maybe very minimally. I don't really know myself. But to my knowledge, that wasn't something that happened.
I think the specifics of that are not necessarily discussed with me. But it seems like Nikki and my mom both act as middle people between them in different ways, depending on the context.
With Natalie, sometimes we were close, and sometimes we would fight viciously. We shared a room. We had gerbils. We rarely speak. And when we do, it's in done in a kind of neutral way to avoid conflict. It's a lot of various things over the years. Some were little and some were big. So I wouldn't say it's just little things. There were some big things that I don't think I want to talk about.
Well, I think when I feel like I can help, then it feels much better than when I feel like I try but I can't do anything. So, I mean, like if you call just to talk and I can tell you're feeling better when we talk, then that feels good because I feel like I'm giving you something that helps you.
Bonnie and me. Her and I were very close in age, and we did a lot of things together. We were very much in each other's space, though I do remember that we fought a lot. But there was that way of, like, there's a sense of familiarity. So I would have that with, whereas I didn't have that sense with Rachel. Yeah, it's difficult, and I feel frustrated because it doesn't seem to, it doesn't seem amenable to kind of changing. I feel like there's a lot of tension there that doesn't fully make sense to me. I feel like I'm not seen in that relationship.
He said, come one